Must be strange being a woman, you know, all that power.
What?
And they are the true creators, aren't they? You know, because all men do is destroy things.
Yeah.
You know, they look like us.
Speak for yourself.
2 arms, 2 legs.
2 faces.
There's so much more to it than that, you know.
Greetings all, this is Ehav from the Chronicles of Ehav, and this is the second installment of The Greatest Mystery. Okay, so in the last video I did, I talked about what I consider to be the greatest mystery of all, and that's understanding women. You know, I mentioned a little bit about past problems I've had in terms of the logic I thought I had concerning women, you know, concerning the fact that I thought I had faultless logic when it came to women, and I thought I understood them to a certain point, and then I came to find out that I didn't understand. So now I'm going to talk about exactly what I mean by the fact that I found out that I didn't understand. Alright, so there are 2 situations that helped me to figure out that I didn't understand women. And it was, I think, even a little bit after these situations that I really came to the conclusion that I didn't understand. So the first situation I'm going to talk about in this video is the one that deals with a woman that I will call the Desert Princess. So this is the first story of how I began to understand that I didn't understand women. Okay, so I met the Desert Princess, as I'll call her, in 2006 when I was here in Israel. And, you know, when we met, you know, I can't remember how, if, you know, at all initially how, you know, I became somewhat attracted to her. I mean, she was definitely a beautiful woman. There were some things about her that, you know, at the time were, I guess, troubling her in terms of her own life and her own search for direction. And, you know, I kind of felt that if she, you know, found the answers to, like, let's say A, B, C, and D, she would be, like, the perfect woman for me. You know, but that was, I guess, my first fault, if you will, looking at her in terms of not where she was, but where I felt she could be, you know, which on some level may have been a little selfish on my part. Okay, so as time went on, you know, as time drew near for both of us to leave, I remember feeling like really sad that, you know, she was like going to be going and I was going to be going my way, and that basically, you know, part of me wanted to tell her how I felt, but the other part of me knew that, you know, that was not going to accomplish anything, you know. I remember having something else I had to do that day that was very important. You know, it was basically a job interview, and I remember during the whole interview I kind of wanted it to end as fast as possible so I could go see her again. You know, I just wanted to see her one more time, you know, knowing that, you know, even seeing her that one more time wasn't going to be enough. I saw her like one more time, you know, before she left, and, you know, I felt like really sad, you know, and, you know, I remember another girl that was there, a friend of hers, we were both talking about it, and I told her, you know, how I felt about the Desert Princess, you know, how I basically knew I was, you know, in a situation where there was no win. And, you know, later that day I went to the beach in Tel Aviv and just kind of sat around thinking about, you know, everything, you know, in terms of life and all that kind of stuff. And I saw the Desert Princess like at least 2 more times when I went back to the States. And, you know, both of those times kind of secured the fact that there was no possibility. So it was then that I realized that the right thing to do in this situation was to walk away, was to take my feelings and basically conceal them or basically cast them out. So when I went to the beach that day in Tel Aviv, that's what I went to do. So this last story deals with a woman that I just recently met, a few weeks ago actually. And it was someone who initially, you know, was basically like what's called a shidduch, you know, a setup date. And it was someone that upon meeting, I didn't really think was gonna, much was gonna come out of it. But I remember the first day that we met, it was like I'm sitting there thinking, like, man, this is like deja vu, because there were so many things that are a basic part of who I am, that are also like a basic part of who she is or who she was. There were so many things that we had in common, so many things that were so similar, and the more we met, the more that we had in common. The more we found that we had in common. But there was one huge problem with this situation. The problem was is that she had been living here for about 4 years in Israel, and initially her plan was just kind of to come here on a whim. And just as much as when we met, she told me the first day we met that she was basically going to be leaving in a few weeks to go back to where she came from, which is in South Africa. So, upon hearing this, I was kind of like, man, that kind of sucks. I mean, the whole idea, supposedly behind this whole setup was that this was someone that I could meet, possibly, go out with, and, maybe if things go the right way, it could end up with marriage. So, now I'm in a situation where I met someone who is so similar to myself, and then all of a sudden, I'm in a situation where this person's going back to where they came from, and that's pretty much it. We went out a total of 3 times before, I guess her time to leave came up. Essentially, every time I met with her, I felt a lot closer to her. And every time I met with her, I also felt more like I was looking myself in a mirror. Not literally, of course, but more like figuratively. Like I said, there were just so many things that we had in common, and so many things that, you know, um, just almost seemed like destiny. I mean, it was one of those. So what essentially happened was the last time we went out, we were going to meet like another time after that. But I knew leaving, like after that date, if you will, that I had a decision to make, and it was going to be on me more than anything else. So what was this decision? The decision was, if I continue to see her again, if I continue to see her before she leaves, which was coming in a few weeks or so, basically one thing I knew was going to happen for sure, that I was going to be hurting myself. That at some point, the more I invested into this whole situation, I was going to be hurting myself. There was another factor that at one point, the last time we met, she told me that she felt bad because initially she wasn't going to take the whole date thing because she knew she was leaving. And she felt as if, like, on some level, maybe she was kind of leading me on in this situation where she knew she was going back. And, basically I'm looking for something more than, just like kind of going out with someone who's going back to wherever they came from. Um, one of the things I told her was that, I'm one of those people that I don't allow, I don't believe that people can hurt me. I can only hurt myself. What I mean by that is, if someone wants to try to hurt my feelings on purpose, as an example, the only way they could do that is if I allow them to get close enough to, like, have something to hurt. So the way I look at it, everything rests upon me, not on someone else. It was that someone, in a sense, has to be the bad guy in this situation. So because I didn't want it to be her, I decided that the bad guy had to be me. Now, we promised that we were going to stay in contact even when she went back. But basically what I did was I had her email address as well as her phone number back in South Africa, and I just took the card that is on before I memorized it and threw it away. I even deleted her phone number before she left, just to not put myself in a position where I was going to call her again. Um, and essentially, the time went on, and I think by now she's basically back home. And one thing I told her was that more than likely what was going to probably happen was that she'll probably go back to South Africa, find someone that's right for her. They'll get married, and, life will go on. She'll forget all about me. In order to kind of help that process along, that, was one of the reasons that I stopped contacting her, to kind of, if you will, put myself up in the role as the bad guy so that she can kind of just move on.